We have in our midst the bursar of the College of Health Science and Technology Ijero Ekiti, Mr. OK Dada. We call him OK is okay, and I'm sure OK will always be okay. In our midst again, we just want our people from Board of Internal Revenue to know that we have good calibers of people in Ekiti State University. Also, we have our mother here in our midst, Dr. Mrs. Agbaje. Mommy, you are welcome, ma. And thanks for sitting pretty for us. Also, we have the director of the head of pay. I want to make my oga a director. We have the head of payroll here in our midst, Mr. S.K. Akoni. Thank you very much, sir. We are glad to have you in our midst. Also, we have the director of EKSU Consultancy Services Limited. He was a week ago. He delivered his inaugural lecture, the 98th inaugural lecture of the university, Professor Boboye Ajayi. And while introducing the director, our queen mother came in. She came in as a queen that she is. He is no other person than the boss of Ekiti State University, our own ATM, our own dispenser that has always been dispensing without any delay, without any network failure, that will still dispense before the end of the week. For those of you that will receive it, and me, I will be taking the 10%. Mrs. Janet Oroluwa Ojobaneko. When you all receive your EA, just remember me. And if you refuse to remember me, I will tax it. Yes, Oga Koni is there. Please tax everything and send it to my account. Thank you very much. Mommy, you are welcome, ma. We also have in our midst the head of accounting services, my daddy, Mr. Bello. Thank you very much. We are glad to have in our midst. We also have Mrs. Kolade in our midst. Mommy, you are welcome. And we have our Oloris, the Olori of Ado Lati Ajewi. Yes, we have Mrs. Alade Somi and my own mommy, Olori Adeyemo. Thank you very much. From Board of Internal Revenue this afternoon, we have Mr. Shego Gosonya, Head Direct Assessments. Please, can you wave? Thank you very much. We have Mr. Akinleye Emmanuel, the Head of Payee. Thank you, you're welcome. We have Mr. Ayo Falaye, the Head of Maintenance. Thank you. Yes, you have been doing it. He has been maintaining a few things there. We have Olani Itosin Jumoke. Olani Itosin Jumoke. Thank you. We also have Awoshemo Odunayo, Communication and Liaison, both of them. Thank you. We have Mr. Akintunde Aduro Shaki, the PA to the Executive Chairman. When you see him, you see the Chairman. Please, my name is Ayobami. In case you are going, you can just see me, Sha. We have Mr. Biodu. Thank you. We have Mr. Biodu and Mr. Yolatono, ICT Department. Hope we are safe. I'm sure you will not hack us before you go. Thank you very much. We have Mr. Emmanuel Akinyeni, the legal officer. So we are legally secured here this afternoon. That's good. Thank you for coming. Now I want to invite the Deputy Director of the Directorate of EKSU Consultancy Services Limited, as he will be reading the citation of our lecturer.
I want to humbly invite the lecturer to come and stand here while I read this citation. Okay. Towards the end of last year, I was privileged to attend a conference organized by TED Fund on fostering academia industry partnership. I think EKSU is demonstrating that today. Can we put our hands together for EKSU? Mr. Olatona is a distinguished professional whose career exemplifies excellence in accountancy, taxation, audit, corporate finance, consulting, and public sector leadership. A 1992 graduate of accountancy and finance, he also holds a Master of Business Administration from Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, and has been a practicing chartered accountant since 1995. He began his professional journey with SS Afemike and co-chartered accountant, where he rose swiftly to the position of audit supervisor. During his time with the firm, he acquired deep and broad experience in audit and assurance management, consulting, and tax advisory services, leading and participating in assignments spanning banking, oil and gas, manufacturing, construction, trading, and public sector. Mr. Olatono further distinguished himself during over 7 years of meritorious service at Treshold Nigeria PLC, where he served in various strategic roles, including internal auditor, financial accountant, and treasury accountant. He was also the fund manager and chief accountant of the defunct Treshold Providence Fund. Limited, contributing significantly to robust financial governance and control. His subsequent appointment as Chief Financial Officer at Vono Product PLC and as the pioneer Chief Internal Auditor of Lagbos Asset Manager Limited were marked by notable financial reform, strengthening internal control, and saving amounting to hundreds of millions of naira between 2009 and 2013. He provided strong financial leadership as Chief Financial Officer to a major private high-rise property development in the Lekki axis of Lagos State, laying a solid foundation for sustainable growth. A proven turnaround specialist, Mr. Olatono successfully transformed the fortune of eMotion Advertising Limited after his elevation from Chief Financial Officer to Chief Executive Officer. He also served as Group Financial Officer of Lagos-based advertising group, further consolidating his reputation for strategic insight and disciplined financial steward. I think he deserves a round of applause. Beyond corporate practice, Mr. Olatono is a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICANN, and a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, CITAN. He is a licensed advertising practitioner and author of 5 books, and a widely published social commentator whose articles have appeared in many national newspapers. A gifted musician, a poet, and accomplished public speaker. He is deeply committed to mentoring young professionals and inspiring the next generation of leaders. Renowned for his strong competence in ERP and IT-driven financial system, as Mr. Olatono has supported numerous organizations in successful implementation of enterprise solutions. He has also consulted for Ondo and Ekiti State on revenue mobilization and previously served as managing partner of Olatono and Co. Chartered Accountant and lead consultant of Virtual Finance Team Limited. In November 2022, Mr. Olatono was appointed Executive Chairman of Ekiti State Internal Revenue Service by His Excellency Governor Biodun Abayomi Oyebanji. Within 3 months of assuming office, he surpassed a 6-month revenue target, earning a commendation visit from Mr. Governor. In their 11th meeting in 2024, Mr. Governor and the State Executive Council wrote a letter of commendation to Mr. Olatono, acknowledging his diligence, determination, professionalism, and leadership qualities, which have helped the entire staff of Ekiti State Board of Internal Revenue Service to work as a team in achieving the shared prosperity, mantra of the administration. Under its pragmatic, transparent, innovative, and result-driven leadership, the internal generated revenue of Ekiti State has almost quadrupled within its first 3 years in office, and in IGR ranking, he moved Ekiti State from being one of the lowest 3 to be in the first 20 despite the size of the economy of the state. He led the team that successfully hosted the Joint Revenue Board strategic retreats on tax reform law held at EKIRS Ekiti in September 2025, and all the tax administration at the national and subnational level commended him for a job well done. I think he deserves a good round of applause. True to this record of excellence expectation, he also led the team that completed the state revenues house in Ado Ekiti in just 9 months against an initial 8 target of 18 months. Mr. Olani Olatono is married to Dr. Mrs. Folu Olatono, a professor of public health nutrition at the University of Lagos, and together they are blessed with award-winning children. Join me as I welcome him to the podium.
Thank you. I want the slides to be up. Okay. Good afternoon. I'm not too familiar with your procedure, but I'll just give the Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Bossa, and everybody so that I don't breach any protocol. I want to greet you. Good afternoon. I also want to thank you for counting us worthy to come and speak with you, in particular as regards the Tax Reform Act. I listened to General Christopher Musa when he was speaking about 2 weeks ago. He said a friend of a thief is a thief. And so if I'm husband of a professor, then maybe you also award me a professor, a professor. I will give you a share, at least let me sit on it also as a professor. I really want to thank the management of EKSU. We've had some wonderful relationship that has made it possible for us to be here this afternoon. I also want to thank my team that also came with me. And the difference between the taskman and the armed robber, because I know some of you don't even like to see my face being a taskman now. Don't worry, I understand. It's not your fault, and it's also not my own fault. It's just that the difference between the armed robber and the tax collector is that the armed robber carries gun, the tax collector carries the law. And so we can understand nobody wants to part with any penny, in particular when you want to evaluate what has the person done to deserve that. Sorry, let me just, okay. Let's go. Beautiful. So good afternoon once again. I'm to speak on the topic that I'll be giving. I'll be as fast as possible, and I'll need your 100% attention. I know it's in the area of questions and answers that would tackle some of it. Because I'm husband of a professor, and my wife is also a public speaker, a number of times she goes about talking about healthy diet, healthy living, exercise, stress management. And having participated in preparing many of our slides, at the time I teached, I said, Madam, do you know if you are too tired to give some of this lecture, I can fake to be Professor Laton and deliver the lecture. And she said, did I mean it? I said, I mean it. He said, okay, what of question and answer? I said, when they begin to ask, what is this? And I don't know. I said, you have not been listening attentively. Something that my wife, that is not a professor, can even answer. So I also have some of my colleagues here who participated in adding onions, Maggi, and the rest into these slides. So if you ask questions that are too big for me, some of my guys, I have lawyers, I have accountants, I have seasoned tax practitioners that will be able to bail me out. Okay, overview of what we will be talking about is there. We'll be talking about the tax reform, the objective of the reform. And there are some contentious issues and misinformation. What are the expected positive impacts? What is the Nigerian new tax reform? Personal income tax, which is the one that concerns most of us here, and the thresholds. Payee implications. We don't think we need so much photographer because I'll make the soft copy available later. Payee implications for personnel and payroll adjustment, record keeping and reporting standards, tax planning and advisory, and then we have some practical walkthrough eventually. We all know that Mr. President signed the law in June 2025, and there are 4 of those laws there: the NTAA, the Nigeria Tax Act, the Nigeria Revenue Service Act, and of course the Joint Revenue Board Act, which I'm also a member of. And incidentally, Ekiti State happened to be the first to domesticate some of these laws and then to have it signed by Mr. Governor on December 23rd, 2025, which made Ekiti to be ranked very well again, because we are the only one that at the signing of our law, the Executive Secretary of Joint Revenue Board came all the way from Abuja to see it done. What are the objectives of new tax reform? I understand you've had some sessions yesterday, so I believe that some of you are familiar with this. Drive the economic growth, harmonized growth, alliance with international standards, promote equitable taxations. Because we will still discuss some of these things later, you can just read them there, and I assume that some of us already know some of the reasons for this. Now, there have been so many misconceptions. I've had quite a number of comments here. I've had a sister there talking about bank charges. She's even talking with somebody now. Arguing about bank charges. Why am I paying 50 naira? And the thing is just that it's come to a level that when you're looking for a scapegoat, the taxman must be blamed for everything. Even what the bankers are collecting, the taxman must be blamed for it. I'll tell you sincerely, Mr. Taiwo Yedele incidentally threw a challenge some time ago, and the chairman of Joint Revenue Board also threw a challenge. That if you know any area that this tax, that any new tax that has been introduced by these new laws, and you are able to point it out, 100,000 naira will be given to you. Nobody has taken that challenge. But many people would rather read the social media and then interpret. I was joking on the platform. I said every carpenter, every bricklayer has suddenly become a tax consultant overnight, saying all manner of things. And unfortunately, our case is like that of a doctor, a PhD holder, that was ferried from one place to another in Lagos. True story. And then there was an accident. He was on a bike, Okada. And then there was an accident. And the bike man said, please rush me to Bobi Teaching Hospital. And he was rushed to Bobi Orthopedic Hospital. But the PhD holder said he would rather go to a traditional bone setter. 2-3 months, the Okada rider was back doing his business, and he was shocked one day to see PhD holder still limping. What happened? He went to traditional bone setter. And then they now had to arrange for him to do proper surgery in Bobi so that he will get his health properly restored. It's a bit painful that it's people that should know, people that should be educated, people that should be able to read, people that should be able to read black and white, things documented in black and white. People that should correct the society and say, no, that is not the position of the law. Unfortunately, we are becoming so much intellectually lazy that we are not reading, we rather watch the video that somebody that knows nothing has said. And so we have a case of the blind now trying to lead those that are supposed to be seen. Paradigm paralysis. Because we have fixed our mind that, anything government must be negative. Anything coming from federal government must be bad. Anything coming from government cannot be good. Nothing good can come out of Israel or Nazareth. And so many of our minds are already closed. And sometimes it could be very frustrating because you know the truth and you are trying to explain the truth to people, but they doubt you. Even, media houses, even some journalists, when they are interviewing you from a very, very biased mind from a mind of not wanting to know. So some of these misconceptions, we will discuss a few of them. Some of them is, government is introducing new taxes on the masses, which is a lie. I believe in December, they say, there's an elderly man that came to my office in December, and I saw him. This was a man when I was in the secondary school some 40-something years ago. He initiated a kind of award that any student that had the best result in English language, he would give him 50 naira as a gift and something like that. And I saw the elderly man, over 80, in my office. Baba, why are you here? He said, they have said that you people will prevent me from operating my bank account come January. I said, Baba, please go home. He was struggling. And I want to do things, I want to do that. I said, Baba, please, you just go home. These things are lies. So how many of you now have not been able to operate your bank account because of the new tax law? They say, tax officers, so they will be looking into your bank account and they will be removing money from there. How many of you have you removed money from your bank account? And so it's unfortunate when those that should know and that should open the eyes of those that are blind are now the ones that the illiterates are now performing surgery on their eyes. They have ophthalmologists. In fact, they should even be able to recommend ophthalmologists to others, but they are the same ones that are carrying their legs to whack or to quacks. I pray that will not be part of them. Say your account will be debited from January. If your account has been debited by EKIRS since the beginning of this year, or even NRS, please raise up your hand. Anybody? Let us see the liar. Nobody. They say small businesses will suffer more. It's a lie. Because even now, once you are below the threshold, we are not allowed to touch you. They say, it's just revenue grabbing. They just want to grab revenue. That's another lie. It's more about stimulating development than all this. Capital gains tax of 30% will be charged on your capital market investment. That's another lie. But if people don't understand, they can seek understanding. As many of you know, tax itself is a whole discipline that some people earn their professorship in. People have PhD in taxation. And so when people just want to multiply the salary by 1% like that, they know they're not going to get it right. They say even minimum wage earners will pay tax is a lie. I will show you. Gifts and remittances will be subject to tax. Another lie. Nigerians in the diaspora will be taxed. Another lie. Pension and retirement benefit will be taxed. Another lie. Some have even come to the extent, when I was debunking some of these lies, one respected elderly man said, Chama, because if anybody cannot impregnate his wife, it is tax reform. I mean, so I hear a lot of things from time to time. And how will I blame you when even some people in government that are even part of government refuse to understand it? When a sitting governor said, that tax reform act is dead on arrival. And he was asked, sir, have you read it? He said, I don't need to read it. What I know is that it's dead on arrival. Quiz. Mr. Taiwo Yedele has outlined approximately 50 benefits of the new tax laws. Is there anybody in this class that can mention at least 10? Because most of us, we are not looking at those benefits. We don't read those benefits. We don't want to watch videos on those benefits. It is, one fake bawomio, they want to take my money. That's the one we listen to. How many of us can list 10? Can just mention 10? Anybody, one person, you are not looking anywhere and you are mentioning 10. Yes, my brother. Give him the microphone. 10, we'll count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. Any other person that can attempt? At least 1 out of like 50. We are trying. Okay, you can be mentioned. Maybe they will know yours because my time is counting. Don't point. Come to this side so that the microphone will not be against that.
Okay. The first one on the issue of personal income tax. Anybody that's earned from 0 to 800,000, they are exempted. They are not paying anyone. 2, for they introduce rent allowance to replace other allowance that we have.
2.
Then 3, for company that their turnover is below 100,000.
3.
They are exempted. Then the rate for company is reduced to 25%.
Has that been reduced?
I think it's subject to some conditions.
It was proposed, but yes, continue.
Then for under the capital gain for anybody that sell is share and reinvest is up to tune of 100 million is not going to pay.
Okay, go on.
Then for anybody that not reinvest within 12 months, you will pay tax.
Okay.
For the fact, some basic goods are exempted: food,
6.
education.
Go on. 6. 6 out of 50. Let's clap for him. Hello, please, when we are using the microphone, we mustn't make it to cross the speaker. Is going to give some feedback. All right. Please let it be here so that we won't get that distraction again. Let the microphone be here. Thank you. Thank you, my brother. At least he made an attempt. Okay. Any other person? Where I'm going is that many of us, we don't care enough to know about the benefits. Rather, our interest is in the area, and so we don't trust the government, and that is part of the problem. Despite this, there are numerous misconceptions surrounding the laws. Could you identify a few of these? I've mentioned it. Discuss how well-founded or otherwise. Many of them are not well-founded. Many of them are based on falsehood. Many of them are based on misunderstanding. Some of them are also based on miscommunication. And I'll tell you, it is partially the fault of the society, but also I will also be a part of the responsibility as a member of DRB. And the reason is because, thank you. The reason is because we underrated some people. What do I mean? We underrated the online businessman. We underrated the social media person. We underrated the content creator. To what extent will you agree that since the implementation on January 1, 2026, some of the citizens' fears have been alleviated? Part of what I have said is this. If your organization has been taxing correctly, that is, you will be paying the correct amount that you should pay as somebody that earns income, let's say in Ekiti State. By the end of January, your pay slip should reflect lower tax. But if you have not been paying the correct amount, it's a different kettle of fish. And EKSU, you know what we are talking about. May God help us. We will answer later. If you have been paying the correct taxes, actually your tax should come lower, except you earn more than 2 million per month. If you don't earn more than 2 million per month, your tax, the normal tax you should pay, would come down. And so we want to wait till the end of January and then we'll look at it. We'll also provide for you a QR code that you can scan and put your gross salary on, and then automatically you will get your tax computed. So if EKIRS is cheating you, you will know. Now, some of the benefits of the law are there on the screen. Businesses, reduced business risk, elimination of minimum tax on capital and the rest of it. Look, I once audited a client some years back, around 1995 or there about 96, and that client actually made a loss. When I computed the minimum tax, it occurred to me that the guy will be paying more money even though he had made a loss. May the Lord forgive me. He has even forgiven me. I had to do what I don't normally do. I had to tweak the account that the guy made a profit of 10,000 naira. Because that will now make him to pay less tax. Somebody is already on the ground. You are matching him there. His business has already made a loss, but because you don't trust Nigerians, you believe most Nigerians falsify their records, therefore minimum tax was introduced. Okay, even if you are claiming that you made a loss, you must still pay so percentage of your share capital, you must pay so percentage of turnover. That one is gone with this one. You really made a loss, nobody is going to tax you. These are some of those benefits. For household, that is for you and I, wage awards, transport subsidy, tax waivers on food, and tax suspension of fuel products. These are some of the benefits you have. Of course, for government also, because the ideal is government is trying to delay its own gratification. To say, look, let me not tax the yam seedling. Let me wait for you to plant that yam. Let that yam grow. Let that yam grow very big so that when I'm now asking you for a portion, you are not cursing me. Lower tax burden, it will reduce. Some of the rates have also been reduced. Harmonization of taxes. By this new law, for example, EKIRS can no longer collect consumption taxes, which we are collecting before now, based on our law of 2012, on consumption taxes for hotels, bars, and restaurants, and the rest of them. We are not allowed to collect that now. Again, we have removed it, and we have eliminated quite a number of taxes, all under this new law, which means Ekiti people can breathe more. Okay, lower tax burden, low income earners exemption, like my brother said, VAT zero rate on pharmaceutical and food items. And then also, before now, if you are not into manufacturing, you will not be allowed to claim your VAT inputs. You charge VAT output, and then even if you have inputted anything, for example, this is service now. There's no physical product that you are selling. I'm talking about EKSU Consult now. Or if you have charged VAT under the old regime, you have to pay the old output VAT. But now the expenses you are spending on this, for example, I believe that maybe you are going to give the invited speakers big honorarium. Under the new law now, you are now allowed to claim the food item. If you rented this all those expenses, you can also classify them in particular. If they are also VATed, you can now claim the VAT input. But now, sorry, you are making money. Yes, you are using the internet, but the truth is that the Ifaki Ado Road, you enjoy it. Security of Ekiti, you enjoy it. All those allowances for the doctors, locum allowances, and the rest of it. Part-time lecturing in Federal Poliado, all of those ones, they are part of your gross income. And that is why you are now expected, aside from the filing that EKSU, BOSA, and the rest would have done, and salary people would have filed for you, you also, as an individual under the new law, you are expected to file your own returns. And that filing your own return will mean that you say, okay, from my salary with EKSU, I collected 10 million for last year. But from my own other PP, lecturing here, lecturing there, I made another 4 million. From the house I rented out at Iworoko to students, I also made 4 million. You had everything together, you applied the new rates, and then you now deduct the portion that you have paid, that EKSU has paid on your behalf to Ekiti State. You deduct that one. The withholding element on your rent also that your tenant is supposed to have paid to EKIRS, will remove that one. And whatever is remaining is your taxable pay. Are we together? So non-residents are taxed only on Nigeria-sourced income, including income from digital services. I know some of us may not be happy with that one. But before you kill the tax collector, why don't you kill the law? When they were doing public hearing, many of us were not there. Even when we were invited, we did not speak. We didn't say we don't want law. Because once you are able to fight the law, and you defeat the law, and you prevent the law from being enacted, and then we, as tax collector, we have no reason to bother you. Like I said earlier on, the difference between us and the armed robber is that the armed robber is wielding gun, we are wielding our law. So if you, rather than fight us, why don't you fight the law? Prevent, maybe with your expertise as intellectuals, you can criticize all the tax laws in Nigeria, and that may even force Nigerian legislators and the rest of them to say every law on taxation in Nigeria is hereby repealed. Once that is done, we will have no job to do again, because without the law, we cannot collect a dime from you. Will you do that? If you do it, we will look at where government will get subvention to pay. We will look at, no, because these things have ripple effects. And that's why sometimes I frown when the academic community is the one fighting us. It shouldn't be, because where is the fairness in collecting correct taxes from the primary school teachers, from the secondary school teachers, and using it to pay subvention for people that don't want to pay taxes? It's a conscious thing that we need to look at. Okay, the NTA broadens what counts as income to replace the vague approach under the old Peter 2011. Gains from digital virtual assets are now taxable. That is, if you are into cryptocurrency and the rest of it, you also pay. Prizes, winnings, honoraria, awards, laurels, grants, etc. Disposal of money or money instruments. I know I'm going to face some questions that, what of the money I spend on publishing? You are welcome to. I'm not a novice to it. I have paid also in dollars for my wife when she also had to publish. She lectures in the University of Lagos. So I know many of the things that bother an average lecturer. Are we together? Benefit in kinds, clearer valuation rules, rent-free accommodation cap at 20% of gross. We'll demonstrate that one later on. That is more or less if you are paying to a landlord and you have evidence that you are paid some kind of rent to your landlord, with cap at 20% of your income. That's 20. If your income is 2 million, for example, 20% of it was at 400,000. We will give it to you. But if it is more than 500,000, the maximum you can claim will be 500,000 naira. And how do you get that one? You won't just say, because you have said you pay to landlord, we will give it to you. We will need to see the evidence of payment to that landlord, part of which could be where is the withholding tax deducted, and then where is the receipt that the landlord issued you, and then who is the landlord? Is the landlord also tax compliant, or is just collecting everything? So all these things are linked up in form of change. And that's why it's advisable that you just be truthful. It's just, don't be like a woman that wants to deliver a baby in the hospital and says, I don't want any maid doctor. I don't want them to see my nakedness. Koti dara eni. New threshold exemptions and progressive structure. So these are the new one now. And the way of calculating is that one, income breakdown. What's the gross annual income? Is it salary? Is it wages? Is it fees? Any person in the house, you go there, you preach somewhere, and they give you an honorarium. It's part of what you also have to declare. I'm also speaking to myself. You're laughing. Is income now? Abi? Your tax, unfortunately, is not tax allowable. NHF, NHAIS, pension contribution, interest on loan if it is an owner-occupied house, life insurance premium, and then a 20% annual rent, which I mentioned earlier on. And the first 800,000 will be taxed, and that rate will be used. The table is available for you. Now look at this thing very well. Let us, when we want to fight the new law, look at the table very well. Under the old law, that's Peter 2011. If you earn 840,000, deduction from you will be 42,000 naira. And then under the old payee, you pay 32,000 naira. But under the new one, 2025 Act law, you will not pay anything, which means you will be saving at least 32,000. Is this for the poor or not? All right. If you earn, let's jump to number 4. Serial number 4. If under the old law you earn 2.4, you are going to pay 210,000 naira as your tax. Under the new law, what you pay is just 204. You save 6,320. If you jump to number 8, under the old law, if you earn 18 million, your tax liability in the year will be 1.8. But under the new one, it will be 1.7. You will save 83,000. So you will look at it that until you are crossing the 24 million, 25 million bracket, your tax is actually not going to increase. And if you look at number 9, which is if you are now earning 30 million, your tax liability under the old law will be 4.9. Under the new law, it will now be 5.1. Marginal increment. If you had a 32 million, all those differences, 32 million, 21 million, 5 million, 32,528, 21,000, 5,400, 6,000, and you add everything together, how much of it will compensate for the 236? So I put it to you like Rufai Oseni will always say, that the new tax law will mean that most of you in EKSU, if you have been paying correctly, your tax liability will automatically reduce. But, if you have not been paying correctly, it is not EKIRS that is increasing your tax. It is not federal government that is increasing your tax. The only thing that the new law has done is to make things more transparent, to make you more accountable. And so if you don't want our principal officers to run foul of the law and to be in trouble, we would then need to cooperate with them. This table is there, it's online. If you have QR scanner, when you get the slides, once you scan it, it will take you to the website of the Presidential Committee on Tax Reform and Fiscal Policy. And then from there, you can then put your gross salary automatically, and then all the other deductible, put it there, automatically it will calculate what your tax liability will be. And may I enjoy every member of the EKSU family to please make sure they do this, and then you will see to what extent you have been cheating the government, or to what extent the government has been cheating you. And then know which one is the truth. The Bible says you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And when you don't know the truth, you remain in bondage. Or if you know the truth and you don't do the truth, your conscience will be nagging you until the taxman comes after you. Payee implications and payroll adjustment. Some of the things that will have to be done. Consolidated relief, that's what we call CRA, all those percentage, the first 200,000, blah, blah, blah. All those ones have been removed and replaced with rent relief. There is a revised progressive tax bounce rate. For example, I have been working since year 2000. I had always entered the biggest tax bracket because, you know, the way they graduated that whole scale is such that no matter what, even if you are earning like 5 million in a year, you will find out that the remaining one will always go. I think if you earn about 2.6 or so, anything above 2.6 in a year, you will enter the biggest bracket something. But even now with this new law, I won't even enter the biggest bracket because I don't earn 2 million in a month. Are we together? Okay. So wider coverage, the new act clarifies that all forms of remuneration, including benefits in kind, are taxable unless specifically exempted. Stricter documentation, deduction, and remittances, on-time payee deduction, remittance, evidence for all eligible deductions. These are some of the implications. You can go through them later on. And of course, section 100 to about 127, 130 or so of the new law also put in stiffer penalties and interest where employers fail to deduct and remit. And so it's something we have to watch out for. And then there will be changes in net pay for most employees. Those that have been paying correctly, they will have more money in their pocket. Those that have not been paying correctly, you know what is going to happen to them. I don't need to say that one. Adjustment in eligible deductions also will be there. Valuation of benefit in kind for payee also will be there. Benefit in kind is if you, aside from your card, aside from the cash or whatever you collect as salary, if you live in free accommodation, a percentage of that will be calculated. You use official car, a percentage of the market value of it will be calculated and be added and be deemed to be part of your income. It's not exactly new. Why are you saying her? It's not exactly new. Since Hitman 1961, that had always been in a law. So there's nothing new about it. But because most of us never bothered to know what was in the law, that's why we are saying her. There's nothing. Baba Jesus, is it new? It's not new. It's not new. So when people say, when people are saying, no, we want to, we will not go agree, we will not go agree, I just laugh. You won't agree on what? Is there anything new? Lower and medium income earners will pay lower payee, while earners above 25 million will bear a proportionately higher tax burden. People in this bracket are not much in Ekiti. How many people earn up to 25 million in a year in Ekiti? But one of my major prayers when I'm talking to God is that, God, I want to enter that biggest net. I want to be one of the biggest taxpayers. And tó bá lówó ló máa san tax tó pọ̀ torí olówó olóríire ló ń san owó orí. Èmi fẹ́ ṣoríire. So the person that doesn't want to pay the biggest tithes, the person that doesn't want to pay bigger tax, he should just pray that the blessings that God has earmarked for him should be diverted and credited to the account of Mr. Oladin Olatona. And I will say amen to it. So it will come to me and I will pay. There's an individual that pays over 100 billion as personal income tax in Nigeria. There, as I was discussing with special advisor to the LRS boss, and he was telling me that they have some individuals that pay over 1 billion as their personal income tax, quite a number of them, every year. So if you have the kind of Dangote in Ekiti State, how much are we all praying that we are screaming that we want to fight EKIRS? May the Lord lift us up beyond the poverty mentality, and may God help us to be prosperity conscious, to be business minded, so that we will not be fighting over 2,000, 3,000 deduction, but that we will now be laboring that God will want to be in the bracket of people that pay millions as taxes every month, not even every year. If you believe, shout amen. Implications of payroll. I mean it, because this thing is simple. If you don't, okay, if you see somebody pushing wheelbarrow, can we go and enforce? We want to seize your wheelbarrow. No. You see a man on the street, we say you must pay your tax. No. Or you see somebody that is looking wretched, looking helpless. You want to? No. Ask my colleagues. Many of them have paid. Personally, I have paid taxes on behalf of people in Ekiti. Look at the situation we did an enforcement some time ago. A pastor's wife, the husband has warned her, don't go out with this vehicle. The documents are not complete. When I come back, I will renew the document. The pastor's wife said, how can I be carrying these children? I can drive. No, Jolly, I will quickly make use of it. Drove the vehicle. Unfortunately, it fell into the hands of people doing enforcement. The vehicle was impounded. She happened to be an housewife, and so she ran to her office, and she was weeping. Daddy won't warn me. And you see her with the children. I mean, we don't have heart of stones. We are also emotional people. We have blood flowing in our vein. I look at our situation. The law is there. The instruction is there. The publication was made to churches. Churches were written. Mosques were written. We were on social media. We said it on radio. We said it on TV. But she had violated the law. So what will we do? Oh yeah. Commissioner for Transport came for a meeting in my office. Honorable Ajobi West. So yeah. Dawo Sile or Lorun. I collected from him. I put down my own. Oh yeah, all my directors, current tax law, to avoid under or over deduction of taxes. Why we put over deduction is that if you overpay, or because any payment that is made to Ekiti State government, and I'm not a signatory to that account. Once you have made payment into it, it's easier. You can use *5229#. You make the payment. You can go online, pay Stack, Flutterwave, whichever one, and pay. It's very easy to pay. You don't need to go to any bank. But once that money has entered government account, to bring it out, it's like a camel passing through the eye of the needle. So that's why you have to be careful and make sure that you get it right. Tax clearance certificate, some have attacked this. We don't need tax clearance, we don't need blah, 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 blah. Because we will not need it if many of us are sincere. If we will do the needful and pay the right amount at the right time, we will not need it. But I'm in Ekiti. I've been in Ekiti now for 3 years, and I've seen cases falsehood of the highest order. Think about a particular gentleman that said he will not pay more than 36,000 naira as his personal income tax for the whole year because he claimed to be an Okada rider. And then we decided to do a little profiling. I did the profiling myself. And I realized that Oga, who is an Okada rider, has a 14 tires trailer register in his name. He has a Toyota Camry register in his name. He has Toyota Hilux register in his name. And he has a bike register in his name. I said, if a bike rider will have all those kind of things, then all of us should just be bike riders also, so that we will have trailers, we have Toyota Camry, we have Toyota Hilux. And so because of all those falsehoods, tax clearance has come to stay. And that's why when you are applying for certificate of occupancy, you want to do survey, you want to do some other things, you are expected to present your tax clearance certificate. And where we always have conflict with some of your members of staff is because when they now come, that man there, the man in charge of payee, will look at what have you paid compared to what is in your income. What is your income? And I had a case of somebody that needed that TCC urgently and has its origin in EKSU. And I said, Oga, you are not paid the correct amount. Can you make up? And the make up now, over 3 years, was running to over ₦1 million. Whose fault? If it is 20,000, if it is 100,000, we can gather money and pay. 1 million, how much at the end I will help you? I cannot help you. We have to make him to sign a letter of undertaking. He has paid us now fully. But if you want to avoid all these things, why don't we pay the correct amount? Even the Bible says, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. And Jesus Christ himself went ahead, turned the mouth of fish to ATM, got the money, and paid for himself and Peter and others. So why don't we do the needful rather than wanting to fight and fight and fight? It doesn't lead anywhere. Because yes, the chairman, the chairman is temporary. He does his own work. How many years he goes, another chairman comes. And you know, with the new law now, back duty, you can investigate only to 6 months, 6 years. Now we are allowed that if there is a suspicion, you can invest as many years as possible. So it may not be the current bosser that will be there. Another bosser comes and they now says, look, all the one you are not paid over the time, pay. That's when you know that 3,000 per day. I was doing an analysis for my colleagues that if you save 1,000 per day, do you know if you can be diligent enough to save 1,000 per day at about 15% interest every day, within 15 years, you will, by the time we calculated, by the time you are getting to 20-something years, that 1,000 per day will be over 45 million. And that's the same thing that happens about Gbese. When you don't pay it, it begins to grow. And that's why they said, whoever goes are borrowing, goes are sorrowing. Record keeping is going to be very, very important in what we do now. But some have even now gone further to make this ridiculous, to say, if you are sending money to your children in school, if you don't do the capture very well, Mr. Latano will tax it. If you are sending money to your grandmother in the village, and you don't describe it very well as gift, and so when you go to all the marketplaces here, they'll say, Oga, if you gift, you see, those are not the narrations we are talking about. At individual level, so that if you want to go back, you will be able to have an idea of what narration your transaction is. Because if you keep on seeing 5,000, 10,000 in your account, you may not even know what you have used that money for or how that money came in the first instance. You can put the narration, but it's not for taxman to see. Because there are quite a number of things we also use to know whether something is gift or something is an income. If, for example, you say, Oga, I don't earn more than 1 million in a year, which we know almost every Ekiti sons and daughter will now say that is what they want to earn so that they will not pay anything. And yes, you don't earn up to that. We agree with you. But can we look at your lifestyle? Anytime you go to the club, how much do you spend? What are the cars you use? Which neighborhood do you stay? Who are your tenants? Where are your investments? There are avalanche of data that is available to the taxman. It's not all that we will flaunt before your face. And so once we are in doubt, it's when the taxman is in doubt of what you have presented, then even the accounting law says that where the auditor is put on inquiry, then he can investigate. It is that investigation now that will lead to, okay, can we see your bank statement? Can we check what is actually there? And I tell you sincerely, we have a partnership with Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit. And when they came to sign the thing with us, I was really afraid. You know ahead of time, you know how to plan your taxes very well in a way that you will not be embarrassed 5-6 years even after retirement. Some of the documents that are required, among others, are payroll, employee record, your contact, and every other thing like that. And so we need to just know that we have to have all these things ready, because the taxman can come for your record to do check at any point in time. And so all the businesses operating in EKSU also, we have gone around and we have an idea of them now. Thank you. You know the implication. Record keeping and report standard continue. Financial records, audited financial statements. And for those that have been using Ojo and Ojo, Pekubeku, tax consultants. You know, the tax consultants also are now supposed to register with us. We are supposed to certify that, okay, these ones, they are okay or not. Because all manner of quacks, people that don't know the difference between withholding tax and value-added tax, who are now serving as tax consultants, they are all over the place. But this is an era that they either go back to school and go and learn, or we teach them because the implication is, if I'm a tax consultant, I now sign that, oh, I'm filing for this, my client, and everything is okay. And I sign off, and then 2-3 years down the line, it's found out that it's falsehood. Like happened some years ago in disciplinary committee of ICANN, we realized that a particular man, a particular auditor now, he has signed some accounts, and the only thing that was, it's like somebody filed for 5 clients. They turn over the same thing. Cost of sales the same thing. Gross profit the same thing. All the expenses the same thing. The only thing that was different was the name and the address of the company. So it's easy to know that that person was a fake auditor. He didn't check anything. He was just signing and signing account. And of course, I can't remember. I didn't follow up to know how the case ended. You know, so all those things will no longer be possible. Is wired together in a way that if you run from taxes in Osun State, you will meet us here. If you run from Ekiti and you go to Ondo, you will meet us there. It's just like when we just came. Some people will say, oh, if you go to tax office at Ado, the one on now, very close to now, I don't know how to describe. That's where we call the Ado 2 office. That if you went that way, they will tax you high. Oh. So some will now run to, they will run to the one in Okemesi, where I came from. You know, those who say, okay, we see a customer today. 50,000, you know that. Because those other people have said 80,000, 100,000, they will run to remote area or wherever to go and pay. But if you try that now with EKIRS, as you are learning in Umu, they will tell you, okay, sorry, your record is already in so place, go back there. And that's what is also happening now at the national level. So if you think you want to do a kind of environment, you want to run, you don't want to register your vehicle in Ekiti again, so that they will not know. Go and register it at Mauritius. You will realize that we are connected somehow. Tax planning and advisory now. Tax planning, tax avoidance, and tax evasion, there is always a thin line between them, and that's where integrity is really, really important. Tax planning is legal and is normal, and that's part of, you are arranging your affairs in a way that you won't run into trouble with the tax authorities. It's okay. Tax avoidance is where you are now making use of the law, loopholes in the law, to do some complex things like transfer pricing. When I was in school writing ICANN, the only thing I knew about transfer pricing was under management accounting. But now it's a whole field on its own in taxation, you know, base erosion, profit shifting, and all manner of things under international tax that some of us old accountants may not be so familiar with. All are arrangements such that, yes, you are doing your business. For example, maybe you have your plant in Iworoko here, and you now say, well, since I'm residing in Elisha, I don't do any business in Treshold, so don't tax me. All that one is getting filtered out because we are all connected. We are sharing notes. We send our own staff to some other states. Other states also send to us. Quite many times we send some tax clearance and say, please confirm. We also confirm theirs, and that interagency collaboration is ongoing. Tax evasion is now an illegal and deliberate hiding of income, falsifying records, or under-reporting earnings to avoid paying taxes, under deductions, and remittances. May I let us know that it's a criminal offense with severe consequences. And sometimes I wonder, even when they clap for me, that have I done well enough? Because I have been here 3 years. I have not sent anybody to jail. The pastoral part of me, sometimes worries me. Because the kind of illegalities I've seen in Ekiti, the kind of people that have caught red-handed, what we do many of the time is, you know what, go and pay the difference and go and sin no more. But I'm not sure whether we'll be allowed to continue with that one. Because I don't now want to be charged for the crime of another. Because when you do that now, you need to prove to others also that you are not gaining from that. Because if somebody is supposed to go to jail and you are covering in the name of we are together now, paddy, a friend of a thief is not regarded as a thief. So if the same gentle pastor that looks amiable that is talking with you now, if you are found wanting and my face is up there, it's not because I've been born again. It's because I also now need to follow the law. Tax planning and adversary continue. Section 30 requires any person or organization that want to obtain a tax advantage, you shall notify the tax authority and give information. You can even ask for clarification. And some organizations approach us and say, look, I don't want to run foul of the law. Please give me a template that I will use in calculating the personal income tax of my staff. We will freely give you that one. Make sure that correct deduction and remittances due are done to avoid penalties. The penalties now are much, much stiffer. And some of them I cannot even unilaterally waive. And that makes it even more difficult, because even if you are my best of friend, some of them I cannot waive. I'll need to get the permission of Mr. Governor and Honorable Commissioner for Finance. So let's be careful. Tax filing and remittances procedure. Prompt monthly and annual returns filing to the relevant tax authority. It could be NRS. Maybe you deduct federal withholding tax, please pay in time. You deduct value-added tax, please pay. There was a controversy last year that how could Ekiti State be getting more VAT than even Ogun State? My agency was again attacked. That means Mr. Latton is taxing Ekiti people dry. I don't collect VAT. VAT is collected by Nigeria Revenue Service, which is what we call FRS. Now what happened is that when they want to share VAT, you know, when we were young, so if you have not contributed much, some states, bigger in economy, some of them, their economy is like 5 times that of Ekiti State. They deduct withholding tax, value-added tax. They charge, maybe on contract and blah, 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 blah. But they refuse to remit. But because the Accountant General will say, look, let us remit whatever is due. Even EKIRS will remit everything we should remit. Because that gentleman there, at a time when I joined and who was struggling to pay the net, not to even talk about pay, he threatened to come and he wrote me a letter using my official letter-headed paper that he will come and lock EKIRS office. I said, let him try it. But I knew what he was saying, and we had to look for the money to pay the payee in time and to also make sure we pay correctly, because whoever is coming to equity must come with clean hands. So, tax filing and remittances procedure, all those ones also are there. Let's make sure, for example, that we do our payee filing not later than 31st January this year, because it comes with penalty when you default. Normally, some tax authorities keep quiet over this because they will say there's no ignorance in law. But we don't want to have conflict. That's why we keep on saying it on radio, using social media, writing schools, writing organizations, writing companies that please remember to file it. But I don't know what exactly is wrong with us in Ekiti, because most of the time, when we send all those reminders, people will wait. When it is now 5 p.m. on January 31, come and see my office. He's always, for the last 3 years, he's always so rowdy. Hey, we are giving you, the law is there. It's not a new law. It's been there for ages. Let's do the needful. And for your individual filing, that must be done before 31st March of every year. Now there's also digital infrastructure. Like I said, we are in partnership with NRS. We are in partnership with JRB. In fact, in the new revenue house, they insisted that we must build a fortified room where they will domicile some of their servers, which will have CCTV and all that kind of thing. lots of security features so that they can collaborate with us and share data with us. We have had to send some of our colleagues to take training on data protection because we will be having access to huge data, and we have to make the best use of this data also so that we don't run into problem and nobody misuses that data. And training is also ongoing for our colleagues on that. Online tax portals for registration, filing, and payments are there. Electronic tax clearance certificate. If you request tax clearance now, we now do it electronically. And it's done in such a way that if everything works well, if you are putting the correct email address, as the executive chairman is signing, the email should come straight to you. Your tax clearance should be sent automatically as an attachment to your email address. The new law says that if you request a tax clearance certificate, we should issue it to you within 14 days. But we have tried in EKIRS to make it available to you. If you request for it in the morning and everything is okay, you can get it emailed to you by evening. So it's part of what we have done. Clap for us now. Thank you. Electronic receipting is also there. When you pay whichever one, before Tani Joba. Who is Ijoba? We are all Ijoba. And then we'll now see to what extent you enjoy something from the government. Ekiti State was rated as the best in peace, the most peaceful state in Nigeria. That comes with its own benefit. A parent who is wondering, hey, send my child to Ekiti State University. How will he be? Will he be safe? Will blah, blah, blah. If they say, oh, so thing is happening, that is happening, would parents that are living in Abuja or wherever, would they send children to your school? No. So it's a case of rub my back, I rub your own. If there is no valid objection or appeal lodged within stipulated time, the assessment will be deemed to be final and conclusive. We have had cases of people that have received our assessment, some will tear it. We will write them a reminder, they say, hey, you don't mind them. And then it is when the man with saw is eating a housefly. Then they now begin to carry placard. Some were carrying placard a while ago. We no go agree. I said, okay, please list their names. Let us see the last time they paid. And some of them in about 5-6 years have not paid more than 15,000 naira as tax. 5-6 years. Meanwhile, they are the ones that are quick to carry placard. Opportunities and responsibilities. Stronger compliance culture is expected from tertiary institutions, EKSU, in the overall interest of the staff and the state at large. Bursary department can support members through training and advisory, which I think is being done now. Harmonization of MDA demand notice also for those in personal business or practice. Our expectation from our taxpayers: apply consistent and accurate deduction of payee, that's for CFO, BOSA, union members, and the rest of it. Use updated tax tables and release for each employee, and ensure accurate reporting to the EKIRS, ensure accurate withholding tax, and all these things are there. But I want us to go to the practical session. Case study 1. Let's listen attentively. It's my own opportunity also to test professors, to test PhD holders. It's my own opportunity now. In 2024, Mr. Noel Akinjide received a monthly gross salary of 2 million from a company. That's how much per annum? 24 million per annum. Good. He pays rents of 3 million per annum at 3rd Extension GRA where he lives. Not at Abaigbirao. His employer deducts and remits the following on his behalf: National Housing for 2.5% of salary, National Health Insurance Scheme 2.5% of salary, pension at 8%, life insurance premium at 2% of the salary, and then we are now asked to calculate his per annum and per month personal income tax based on Personal Income Tax Act of 2011. And the second question is, with all those data, calculate what his personal income tax will be under Nigeria Tax Act of 2025. Can we quickly do that? Is it done? Which one is lower? Which one is higher? You have not started. Should I do it for you or you do it? I should do it for you. To save time. Okay. What we do is, number one, to calculate the annual gross income, which is 2 million multiplied by 12 months. That will be 24 million. And then those deductible, NHF, 2.5% of salary, we will going to remove it from that 24 million. 2.5 NHIS also will remove it because it's also exempted. Pension of 8% of salary will also be removed. And so 2% of NHF, 2.5% of 24 million will be about 600,000, if I'm not mistaken. And then for the NHIS also it will be 600,000. For pension at 8% of 24 million will be 1,920,000. And then the life insurance as 2%, which is also exempted, will be 480,000 naira. If you remove all that one from the 24 million, you'll be having 20,400,000 as your earned income. Excuse me. Under the old law, you then calculate your consolidated relief allowance, and if you calculate it like that, it will give you 4.28 million. If you back that out, what will remain as your taxable income will be 16.1 million naira. And then you tax it this way. It's on the board. I've done it for you. Clap for me. Can we see it very well? So under the old law, the first 300,000 you pay. The next 300 you pay 11%. The next 500 you pay. The next 500 again you pay 19%. The next 1.6 you pay 21%. And then once it's above all those things, you're going to pay 24%. So you realize that under this old law, your annual tax will be 3,659,840 naira. And if you divide that figure by 12, what you'll be having as monthly tax will be 304,986 naira. But under the 2025 law, this will be the results. The total remuneration remains the same, 24 million. You will still be exempted from that NHF. You will still be exempted from NHIS. Pension will be exempted. Life insurance will be exempted as against. And that is if I'm in doubt. Okay. Apart from that, is there any other reason? The truth is this. There is no way you will do it except you have more than 24 million. There is no way the new one will not benefit you except you have not been paying the correct taxes. That's the truth. The second case study. A man invested his money in a real estate and also placed his money in a bank fixed deposit investment. In a year, the real estate gives him income of 100 million. Also, the bank annually pays him 10 million as per investment interest income. He suffers 10% withholding tax deduction from both rental and bank interest investment incomes. Compute the tax per annum based on Nigeria Tax Act, assuming the man has no other associated expenses. I need one of my people to pick this. Sorry, one of our first class over is calling me. I always respect our cases. Sorry. Okay. So when you look at this one and now, some people will say, motifeyiti. I no longer collect salary. I'm a retiree. But investment income, what they collect as rent is more than salaries for a whole month. And so for such people, they will now also qualify. We are not saying that you are not, yes, you are old. Yes, you are 80. But what you are earning, you are still earning money. Even the Bible talks about people bearing fruit in their old age. As long as you are bearing fruit, and we have been told not to tax the root, but the fruit. That fruit now, you must bring in something. And if you don't want it, just cost yourself. Pray that once you retire, it is only gratuity and pension that you'll be relying on. That one will not touch it. We'll just say, just do whatever you want to do. Because you have become a liability, and sometimes some people will even pray that you die in time so that the body will be lower. Are we together? So, to solve that one also, we already have it done here to make it easy for us. On the 100 million and the 10 million investment income, total on hand income as it were will be 110 million for the year. And then the first 800,000 will be exempted from tax. The next 2 million are 15% graduated like that. The person will have to pay about 11 million as 11 million will be like withholding tax that he has that he has suffered. We'll back that one out. His tax liability in the year will just be 14.4 million only. Which, when you look at it, is not even up to 15%. Are we together? So you realize that this one is targeted more towards the rich. How many of us here have rental income and interest income of up to 110 million in a year? So the rich man that knows that this thing is coming after him, if he pays the social media commentator 50,000, I want administrator, I want to go. If he pays an influencer 150,000, so yeah, Emma attack you, internet Emma attack you, at the end Emma attack you. And how many staff do we have? We have like 300, 350. And so we are 1 million people, even 500,000 are attacking us. Our voice tend to be swallowed up. But who is speaking the truth? Who will the law back up? If you get to court and you are charged for criminality because you have not done what you should do concerning your taxes, will you be quoting the social media as the authority why you didn't do the needful? The reform tax PIT regime strengthens fairness, promotes economic growth, and enhances internally generated revenue for sustainable development in Ekiti State. You are all stakeholders as we are, and therefore we are all encouraged to embrace compliance and digital tax administration. Please don't forget that the relevant tax authority, it could be EKIRS, it could be Nigeria Revenue Service, that's FRS, can conduct tax audit exercise on any organization or person to ascertain their levels of compliance. So he that has been lying, let him keep on lying, at least until it's detected. But when it's detected, all the things that he has escaped, he will pay for it with interest and penalty. Let somebody shout hallelujah. Thank you. Thank you. So, thank you, sir. Thank you, ma. We are open for questions and discussions. Questions and discussions, briefly, before we run. Yes, sir. Please come forward to pick the microphone, sir.
Thank you, sir, for your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
And we have heard much from what you have said. And if one is taking it, it will look from your side that will lean more of wanting people to pay tax. Whereas, considering from our side, we want to see that as if it's not because you have something gainful, then you will not be interested in such a thing. Sir, before now, there is this insinuation, sorry, it's just on a lighter mood. There is this insinuation that people, agencies collecting taxes, they're always supporting every law, all forms of effort of government to ensure that the thing is enforced and collected. On this nation that certain percentage of what they collect, we also return to them. Maybe that is true or not, but that's on a lighter mood. Now, to come to my question, sir. Personal income tax, before now, long years from ago, there is the practice that they will allow individual employees to provide information that will enable them to collect tax relief allowance on their income. But present practice is that table is provided from tax authority on which individual, based on their level of on their level at work, they will just place them to collect that tax without any consideration for what they suppose as individuals to collect as relief on their engagement. Now, from what you have displayed, we also see that there are exemptions that one can also collect. But how is that done? We can understand from your side that you have gathered data of individuals relating to what they have as asset or whatever. But now, concerning the aspect of what individuals should also earn as benefit from what they are out to pay, how are those to be
All right,
provided? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's a very simple one. In those days, they will tell you to list the number of children, your dependency, blah, 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 blah. And we've realized that even pastors who are not married, they will say they have 4 children. They have old grandmother. They have all manner of lies are always in that Asho Ebura paper they always give us. So government said, so that we will not make more people to go to hell, telling lies, let's just package everything they always claim and consolidate it and give it to them as relief. So all the 4 children benefits, all the dependents, something, they accumulated everything and they make it consolidated relief under the old law. Give everything to them. Assume that every Nigerian has 4 children. Assume that every one of them has this one. Assume that they all give everything to them. Are we together? And under the new law, they are now saying, let's even add to what they may want to claim. So they are giving you all the relief. If you want us to go back to Egypt, that will even put more burden on you. I think that's my response to that. And then on your initial comment that every tax administrator will want to support what the government is doing. And let us see any, how do I say it that will be very, very clear now? Whoever pays the piper dictates the tune. And we also need to think beyond ourselves. Because one of the problems of human beings is sometimes we take ourselves out of the society. We behave as if we are operating in the mall. Let's look at, it's more or less like egg and hen thing. Like I was saying earlier on, let's take ourselves out of the picture and then look at it holistically. This money that government is collecting, yes, you may say, God, they steal it and they steal it. But do they use part? Let's even assume that the portion they use is 60% for the people. Do you benefit or you don't benefit? If we are, like I said earlier on, we have a choice. We can go to the House of Assemblies, go to national assemblies, and tell them that let us repeal every tax law. Once you repeal every tax law, like we have repealed the consumption tax now, it will be illegal for me to say, to go to any hotel and say, bring consumption tax, because there is no law backing it. So let us also repeal all laws of taxation. Then nobody will come to us to ask for any tax. But we should also not complain. Would that solve our problem? You may have money to do road to your house. But what of your neighbor that doesn't have? You have money to send your children to this school or to send your children to Abba, to some of the other private schools, which is fine. What of others that cannot afford it? Those ones that if government don't take care of them, they will become a problem for your own children in the future. So this thing is all around. What goes around, it comes to us eventually. So to me, it's no big deal that yes, will I not support what the government is doing? In particular, when in the innermost part of my heart, when with all good conscience and intention, I know this thing is better for Nigerians. When last did we block any road in Ekiti State? Because the new law says it's illegal. Are we together? So we cannot block road again. If you read the Punch newspaper either yesterday or today, in Anambra State, they arrested some people. What did they do? They blocked the road because most of the people even blocking the road, we don't know anything about them. They are non-state actors. The new law has eliminated those ones. Are we together? And rather than locking shops and fighting, before you generate, we stopped locking shops in Ekiti over 6 months ago. And why? I said, this new law that is coming, Ekiti, we were one of the first to go EKIRS. We Ajetu Tuni, when it was released, we combed through it, and I said, hey, guys, this will be the implication. Can we begin to simulate what's going to happen to our income? And we realized, to my surprise, all those locking shops, it wasn't contributing much. It was only giving us headache, noise all over the place. When the power, how much? We stopped it. We still didn't generate less than 2 billion per month. You need to lock about 23, 30 jobs before you generate extra 1 or 2 million. Meanwhile, with data that I've been able to portray to some, Oga, we know you are a retiree, but from our record, we can see that you made this transaction, how come about it? Our guy told me, Chairman, when I was in service, I bought some land, I sold the land. I said, okay, Oga, where is the capital gains tax? Say, etu lobe, and lobe. So what do I need to do? Do that which you don't do as quickly. Otherwise, our team can, if they send your profile to NFIS and they now profile you, they will comb all your accounts in the last 5 years, and by the time they give us that one, you know what your power will say, Chairman, and I was able to get something that would take me locking about 20 shops to get. Do you understand? That's what the new law is saying. Let the rich people have no hiding place so that they pay more, and then let the poor breathe. Very simple. So, with all my chest, I will support this new law. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Some do extra work. I know. Okay, sir. Under. Which tax, sir? Which tax? Which tax would we charge on it again? The money is coming into your account. I'm not asking you which tax now comes on it when it comes into your account.
I don't know because you said
since you don't know.
Now another one.
No, wait. You know one thing, sir. We won't sleep over it. Huh? Because that's the whole essence of this lecture. 20%
of 1 million naira which is entering my account through the cooperative,
you are now following the vulcanizer theory. We have said it clearly that law is law. Sir, I beg you, go and read the law. There is no law that says when you take loan from cooperative, it will be taxed. That's social media vulcanizer theory.
Okay, and that one is settled. Now, that money, I now invested it.
Yes.
Maybe to get small rent from my students or whatever.
Yes.
Now, that's my money that I used to invest, that small money that I used to invest to get small rent.
More money, yes.
You are now taxing it again.
Okay, that more rent, is it a liability or an income?
This is an income, but
okay, the law says total income. Should we add it or we should deduct it? Next question.
That is double taxation, no?
It's not double taxation. Many of us say double. Hello. Many of us mention double taxation without even knowing what it means. And this is always the problem I have with people that should know. When we get home, we can type on Google and search, what is double taxation? So go and find out, it's a technical word. Double taxation is not two taxes. No, it's a technical word. Let's face it, those are professor in English here knows that two words can mean the same thing somehow, but you can't use them interchangeably. You can say start an engine. You can also say begin. Start and begin are the same thing. But you can't say begin and engine and be correct. So double taxation that you are using is a different field entirely. Don't join those people that don't know they are left from the right in using double taxation. It's an income. The law says all income. So let us be informed so that we are not disinformed. So that we are not deformed. When we are informed, we are able to educate people and correct them. But when we don't correct the nuances, we begin to lead unnecessary, we begin to give people unnecessary hypertension. If you took a loan, the loan is not an income, therefore it will not be taxed. So why are we worried? You took a loan from a bank, it's clear that you took a loan. Why will anybody tax it? We are saying we will not tax such. It is the product of it. If you now reinvest it and you make profit, it is the profit element. It has become an additional income that will be taxed. And the portion of it that will be taxed is even small. It's not everything. Next question. Yes, sir. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, sir.
Yes, sir.
I really appreciate all your effort, your explanation. In fact, if for somebody that has been following the chairman of physical planning, Dr. Yedele, he has been mentioned Ekiti is the only state in Southwest that subscribe to it. Well done, sir. Thank you so much for putting our state first. My question is this, sir. One is on the issue of rent. For institutions like us, are we going to demand the receipt from the staff?
Okay.
Then, because for them to claim their rent allowance under the new tax, that's my one. Then number two, on the income that come into our account, grants, office grants to run the office, is it exempted or is it going to be taxed? Knowing fully that it's not used for my personal, it's going to be used for the business of the school, of the office. Another one, just like on the issue of cooperative. If I take loan from the bank, the interest on it, if I use it to build house, the interest on it is deductible. What of the cooperative one? If I take loan from the cooperative and I use it to build house, is the interest on it, is it going to be deductible also?
All right.
Then the last one,
I
sir.
I'm not a professor, so I can't memorize it like that. Somebody may need to give me a pen so that I write. Because, but if you take it one after the other, what's the first one? So that
the first one is the issue of rent allowance for the staff to claim it. Are we going to ask them, bring your receipt, the landlord give you?
I think that one is your own internal process. Thank you. It's your internal process. The thing is just that if you want to claim it, you must have a basis of having it. That, okay, I want to claim this. And of course, there are some individuals. There are some individuals that if they say, that I worked with before, they will say, Mr. Latono, do you have 1 million that you can quickly give me? I have a friend, for example, when he was in a bank, he will say, Alagba, can I have 400K from you? I'll send it to him. I won't even ask him what he needed it for. And one day I now ask him, Ore, where is my money? He said, don't worry, give me another 200K. Because we have a relationship, I was giving it to him. And one day he now said, Chairman, Ore, let's go to even that your site. And I got to where I was building somewhere close to Ekpe. And I saw the house roofed. He said, don't ask me for your money again. This is where I have been putting the money I've been collecting from you. So, that same friend, he's the one running Olani Olatan and Coach Accountant. I don't know what happens there. I don't have the time now. He's the one running it. Sometimes I just get a lot for the money. Alagba, what is this money for? There is a relationship, there is a trust. In that same way, there are people that will tell you that, oh, my staff did this one based on relationship, based on integrity. We have some organizations in this state, for example, that we know that they are truthful in their paying remittances and what have you, that we will not need to say, oh, bring the receipt, bring that one. But if you have given us reasons to suspect you, then we will demand, how many rent receipts do we want to look at? So it's a situation of, we suspect this, we think that this one is not correct. Then we can make extra demand. And so it's not as though everybody must carry risk. If you know you have been clean, your hands are clean. No, it's not everything. It's just like say, they will check my bank account. How many bank accounts do we want to check? But where we are put on inquiry, then we check. So it's that simple. What's the second one, sir?
Second one is the issue of office grants.
Office grant. Office grant, is it not for your running expenses? It's as good as you are traveling on official duty. They give you money for fueling or for transport. Who will tax that one? Nobody will tax that one. It's part of the things that social media people are using to fight the law. It's nobody will tax that one. Then the third one.
The loan on cooperative. The interest on it.
Interest on loan on cooperative. This one is a bit dicey. You know why? If it's the kind of cooperative I was a member of before, when that interest is charged by the cooperative, the income of the cooperative when it is audited at the end of the year is still shared amongst members. So my question is, when that income is shared, do you declare it? If you declare it at the point of your filing, then we will also remove it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
I have about 3 issues to discuss. Based on your experience and revenue body,
yes, sir.
you will know that this law, especially on personal income tax, is always made on broad assumptions.
Okay.
Let us assume this, let us assume this, let us assume this. And coming to implementation, revenue bodies have been having issues with organizations with peculiar allowances. I've read through the new law. For example, there is no where it was stated that peculiar allowances will not count as part of income. Take, for example, the new agreement signed with ASU. We now have what we call kata. It's coming to their salary now. So, specifically, it mentioned journal, land society, research grant, and this. But by the time we come, we roll it into payroll, it becomes total emolument. And by the time we sit down together, you know what I'm talking about. You say, but this is total income. Now, is there a place for peculiar allowance in the new tax law? So, if that has made,
you know, you say you have read it, it's not there. So what you are
saying? This is what I am saying. What is the revenue body doing in advising policy formulator to take care of these exceptional organizations, so that you will not have a running battle with those organizations all the time?
All right. It's a very simple one, sir. Incidentally, Mr. Taiwo Yedele also had running battles with those of us that are tax administrators. Because he came completely from the private sector background. And as far as he's concerned, he came from a very, very poor background. And I was in a meeting where he told us a story of his life and said that for his secondary school to pay WAEC, his parents could not afford to pay his WAEC fee. And then it was the community that sponsored to pay for his school SAT exam. So his mindset was to do all he could to defend the poor, the masses. And that reflects a lot in all the things he has done here. Now, peculiar allowance is peculiar to whichever organization is mentioning peculiar allowance. If you can show us any section of any Nigerian law, constitution, whatever, that mention peculiar allowance, we would now know how to deal with it. We operate based on law, not on emotion, not on sentiments. We didn't write the law. That's why I said we could have gone for public hearing to say they should include peculiar allowance there. And then when all these taxes are made, all these taxes are collected, where is the government spending? Those of us in the educational sector will come out and say the budget of the government, this is what they are spending on education. This is so you realize that it is still the same lecturers, the same people that the rest of us we are paying money. They will still use the money for education. I am not in school. For example, my children are out of school. So whatever government is spending on education, how does it exactly affect me as a person? But it still affects me because whatever product comes from this school, they will still be maybe my employee in one way or the other. So it goes round like that. And so when I see government workers attacking tax law, to me, it's more or less like shooting yourself. Because if the fund doesn't come in, how does government fund you? I understand you absolutely. That's why I said I've also paid in dollar for journals, because in academics they tell you either publish or perish. And my wife, to God's glory, has over 60 scientific papers in international journals. So if you want to publish in international, they won't collect naira from you. It's an unfortunate situation which God is going to help us. I have a younger one that was mentoring when he was younger. I was the one marking marking English language for him before he gained admission. And the last time I was in the US, I visited his university and I saw what was devoted to him for research. And I was begging, I said, bro, if you can also come to Nigeria to help our education system, you are already winning all manner of medals, all manner of awards in the field of mechanical engineering. And then loud, he said, Uncle, what is voted for me to do research alone is more than the budget of UI combined with OAU. So don't think I'm not aware of that. But it's like chicken or egg, which comes first? If there is no money, why is Mr. President now allocating more resources? Maybe to take care of some illnesses, maybe to help people, researches that will be fruitful. And so with that fruitful research, the Dangotes of this world will now have reduced cost of production, and then they will be encouraged more to fund researches. But unfortunately, in the academics in Nigeria now, most of the time, all that we are looking forward to is Mr. Government, Mr. Government, Mr. Government, forgetting that we are also government. When are we going to grow to a level where some of our researches will be targeted towards bringing the gun to town? Now, looking at a particular problem in the society, using some researches to now solve that problem, such that organizations, companies, and whatever will now be interested in sponsoring more researches to make our work easier. Then we are able to collect more grants. Then we are better. I know professors that made a lot of money during COVID in this same Nigeria. But if we are just writing for writing's sake, writing to get promotion, writing new researches that more or less using secondary data, no particular solution solved, if you don't add value, you don't get value. And so I'm trusting God to help us to switch our mindset to be more focused, not on the salary, to be more focused on what can I do to help that organization. You think if I see an organization, for example, that says, Mr. Chairman, I can provide solution for you to make sure that all the bike riders in Ekiti, in Ado alone, we have over 10,000, to make sure that you get them, and then you collect correct money. We have consultants now. Many of them don't even have more than first degree. What do they use? They use their brain. They come to us with all manner of proposals. And when we evaluate it and we know, oh, this one will work, this one will not work, they will negotiate. For every 1 naira you collect, I will collect 5%. I will collect 10%. That's how nations are built. That's how nations grow. And when I've signed that contract with them, when they contribute their own quota, I give them their own share. They're able to employ more people, and they're able to flourish and move forward. So it's not, let's not come with peculiar, because that peculiar allowance is peculiar to that organization that is setting it up. It's not peculiar to Nigerian law. The day we see it under Nigerian law, we will apply it and we'll work with it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The second one, those who are consultants enforcing emblem law.
Okay.
In the recent time, there are a lot of embarrassment on the road, especially for those who are using space buses. But what I know about emblem is for truck and commercial vehicles. How come this, sir?
All right. Incidentally, I'm a member of advertising organization. So I have a license in advertising practices. So I understand about signage. I understand emblem. At least I was CEO of an organization that was into outdoor advertising. Now, out-of-home advertising works this way. That if you are going on the road and you receive what we call street furnitures, audience, you see eye catcher, and let me go into the terminologies. You see all those boards. Advertising. This is Bonvita, this is Milo, this is this, blah, 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 blah. For as many as see it, it is believed that they will be motivated to buy that product. And because you have advertised, if you have gone to radio station or TV, you would have paid something. So also, you are expected to pay. Now, there is now what we call mobile adverts. And it started in Lagos. In particular, when LRS was, LASA was formed. I know part of the story because I have stood on the side of the private practitioners of advertising in Nigeria. So I'm well equipped to explain in a very clearer terms. Now, the advert collection per se is a collection that is for local government under Nigeria Constitution. Now, when the federal government in the time of when Jagaban was the governor of Lagos State, when they withdrew some of the allocation of Lagos State, how will this state survive? They sat down with the local government, and the local government ceded that part to them. Thank you. That they should, thank you, sir, that they should be collecting, that the state government should be collecting on their behalf. It didn't pay us as advertiser because local government, but now they were now better organized, and then LASA now began to collect on behalf of those local governments. And the local government were now getting more money through that one. So when they saw the sources of it, it was now extended to vehicles that have emblems on them. So if you say this vehicle belongs to Cabri, this vehicle belongs to Unilever, it is believed that as long as people are seeing that logo, their mind is saying, hey, you see Maggie on it, you see Milo on it, that their mind is tilted towards buying that product, which is true. What the eye see, the mind pursues. Maybe that's why many people make sure that their receptionists are always ladies. Now, they now began to do that one. Technically, I repeat technically, if a vehicle is not carrying signage of any company, is not branded, it is not supposed to pay a dime. That's my own belief based on the laws of advertising. I read for the exam, I passed. I wasn't dashed the certificate. Are we together? So I don't now know where this idea of anytime you see Space Boss, anytime you see Sienna, you must. I have fought people in this Ekiti that look, that is illegality. Because the vehicle is not branded. And to the extent that it's not branded, you should not collect a dime. My PA is there and they will tell you how many times I have had to stop on the road to attempt to arrest those that are collecting that one. Because most of the time they are non-state actors. Yeah. And in Ekiti State, I was summoned by the House of Assembly around November or so. I said, they are not my people. If you see any of them, please arrest them. So if you see anybody that is challenging you, your vehicle is not branded and is asking you to pay money, is committing an illegality. And under the new law, if such a person are taken to court, they will pay a fine of between 2 and 5 million naira, and they may also go to jail for at least 3 years. So that's part of the penalty under the new law.
Thank you, sir.
So which one do you prefer now, the old law or the new one?
The new law.
Thank you.
So I deliberately brought that one up because one of them embarrassed me at Okeoriomi.
When?
About 3 months ago. When I confronted them, they said their Oga vehicle went to Ondo State. The vehicle was
arrested. Let me tell you something.
So, no, they later released me.
No. Let me
when they knew that what.
Yes, sir. Also. We were in a meeting last month in Abuja, yes, and we were in one outside the country, and we all agreed that all that should stop.
Yeah.
And so I signed, every chairman of every state signed, because it violates the principle of ease of doing business.
Yes.
And deliberately, I was going to Lagos last Friday. I was supposed to pass through Ikogosi. I said, no, let us pass through Ilawe to Igbaraudu. Because one of my colleagues told me that last week that they saw some people after Ilawe.
Yes.
Some of my gentlemen here, they ran there, but before they got there, those people had gone. So we have been policing them. If you see any of them, just alert us. We want to arrest them.
No problem.
But by the time my driver drove and entered Igbaraoke, and we moved a little into Igbaraoke, we saw some of them there. But my colleague in Akure will tell you that he doesn't know anything about them. And those people, they are doing private business. If they try to arrest you again, just pick your phone and say, let me call the chairman of Internal Revenue.
That was what I did about 3 months ago, and they released me.
They are committing a crime.
I said the chairman is my colleague. Let me call him. What I told them, I said, don't worry, your chairman is my colleague. Let me call him. And they said, Kotonya, Shimalo. So, on a final note, sir.
Yes, sir.
Irrespective of the level the social media had gone,
yes, sir,
government activity is still strictly done officially. As we speak now, I don't know, there is nothing about new tax law on my table. I think there should be a communication between the tax body and respective organization. Like you said now, there are a lot of publications on the internet. In fact, there are people who brought something up that what was passed in the National Assembly was not what the president signed. So copying something from the social media might not be so good. I've whispered to one of your staff that up till now, the new law has not been communicated officially, and we run by rules. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir. About communication is always an interesting one, because how do we exactly communicate? I have been on radio several times. I have been on TV, and we've written organizations, and of course, we've written churches, we've written mosques. I have spoken in churches. One of my colleagues will still speak. We called Association of Professional Bodies. I can send delegates. CITN send delegates. Hannah send delegates to our office. We've spoken to all the KBACs Oriades. We have called all the medical practitioners in the state. We have called the artisans. We've spoken with welders and the rest of them. I cannot even mention all. I have met with people with disability. I spoke about it. And so, but it seems it can never be enough. We are on the social media. We have met with landlord associations. I can go on and on and on. If we now have to write to each of the taxpayers one by one, that may be practically difficult. Let's not be like that man now who said he was waiting for God to speak to him. They announced on the radio that there was going to be a flood in a particular environment. Everybody should move. He said, my God is able to protect me. Unless my God speaks to me, I'm not going to move an inch. He had it on the TV. He said, unless the Lord speaks to me, I'm not going to move. Eventually, water began to come in. He said, please escape for your life. He said, no, until God speaks to me, I'm not going to move. And then eventually, the house became flooded. He climbed the roof of his house. An helicopter was flying. Please come, just catch this rope. He said, no, God has not spoken to me. What happened eventually was that he was killed in the flood, and they said he has a case for God to answer. He said, Baba God, you are not a good God. You didn't speak to me until that flood. And God said, how else would I have spoken to you? I have spoken through the radio. I have spoken through the television. I have done this, I have done that. How else would I have spoken? Anytime we hear anything about about this new tax law, what often happens to us is that we discountenance it. If you're, for example, you are somebody with you have a company, you run a company. Either you like it or not, about 1/3 of that your company belongs to the government under our law. If you are going to pay company income tax 30%, all the other education tasks, even education, they even they don't put tax, so they put education tax 2%. All those ones, it's already arriving at 33%. That means at least whatever business you are forming, government owns about 33% of it. Why should you then not take care of them as stakeholders in your building, in your business? Why? Yeah, are you taking care of the owner and the, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me explain to you. There is no ignorance before the law. If you are waiting for any institution, any letter to be written, how? Where? I'll not be writing down. I'll write upward that there is a new law. Are you not in the country? Is there any ignorance before the law? Any lawyer in the house? Emanuela, will I be? If I take anybody to court for not complying with the law, would you say because I didn't write to that's why you didn't comply? Will the lawyer? No. If you have no, that's why I use that as something. We can't claim ignorance. So when Mr. President signed the law, it was in the news. We can't say because I didn't listen to the news, that's why I didn't keep to the law. Next, yes, sir. Let's just take those two and cap it there. Yes, sir. Okay, we can hear you, sir. Yes, sir.
My comment is not question per se, but maybe call it a request. Going through so many things on social media, and paying particular attention to the operations of the banking sector, and realizing the fact that as a member of the Joint Revenue Board, there are handshakes somewhere along the line, even with the regulatory authority in the banking sector, to which the central bank governor, the NDIC. So I want to suggest that the chairman should, through this medium, advise the regulatory authority to please rein in on the banking sector. The need not to overheat the polity with their deductions. As a matter of fact, some of these misconceptions about the new tax is born out of deductions from the banking sector that has nothing to do with the tax activities. So I want to suggest that the chairman, through those organizations, try to get across to the banking sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Maybe I take the last one so that I'll tackle the two together. Yes, sir. There's one hand there. So don't over the mic so that I'll be able to hear you clearer.
My question deals with the tax liability of solventing institutions. I have a scenario where you have individual staff from the university going personally for tax clearance, and for those staff, they were assessed and they pay part of the tax liability owned personally. So what I want to ask is this: if we are talking about the outstanding tax liability for solventing institution, those people that have paid part or that have paid all of the amount owed, are they deduct the payment made? Are they going to be deducted from the total tax liability owned by the solventing institution?
Okay, I understand you. Okay. The first one by our daddy Oshesusi. Deductions by banks. Oh, I said only two. Okay, let's take it from. That's the only lady that is asking question now. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon, madam.
Yes, sir. My question is on security.
Security, okay.
Yes, sir. From your lecture, you encourage us to embrace the new tax reform. And yesterday too, our mommy here also encouraged us to embrace the law, that we actually need to contribute our own quota to the development of the country by paying our tax.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now, I want to ask you a question, sir. In a country like Nigeria, where people will just be at home and kidnappers will come to kidnap them, and we have seen different cases where after arresting robbers, they will confess that somebody gave them information. Now that you are telling us that we should be paying tax on every stream of our income, if you come to your office to open up, is there any provision to protect our data?
Okay.
Then, yesterday also, mommy encouraged us that, mommy told us rather that Nigerians, by the new tax law, that people can come to invest. If I have someone living abroad and I want to encourage him or her to come home to invest, is there any provision to protect their information? Because I think last year or year before the last, I heard about a man, a native of this region, who came to Nigeria to establish a mechanized farming, and he was killed. So is there any provision to protect our information? Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's okay. Now let's take it the deduction by the banks. The banks do their own business and we do our own business. Now what has happened is that there is nothing particularly new about the banking transactions. Now I have a choice. Keep my money under my pillow and then I avoid bank charges. You understand what I'm saying? I avoid bank charges. If, for example, if I don't want to drink bottled water, I can go to the stream that my grandmother used in the village and then put it inside the earthen pot there, and then I would have avoided bottled water. I don't know how much this one sells for. If you want a service, you must be ready to pay for it. I remember when the first bank came to my city, in Okemesi then, I remember that for you to collect money, you will physically have to walk to the bank, or you will send somebody to go and draw your check for you. And I was a young business boy when I began to hear of up-country check, which meant that if somebody from SLK gave me a check, SLK was part of Oyo State then, I was trading in Okemesi, that check would not clear until 21 days because it will go to Ibadan through Akure, perambulate, and until 21 days before I will be credited. I was a young accountant in Lagos when if I had my account in Zenith Bank at Ajose Adeogun and I wanted to withdraw the money, I would have to physically go to Ajose Adeogun to get it. Now, if I was leaving my office in Oregon to get to that bank in Ajose Adeogun, I would need to transport myself. What's the cost of fuel? What is a man hour? If we put a cost to it, what will it be? When we want easy life, we will pay more. For example, when we don't have telephone. Hello? When we didn't have mobile phone, we were not paying for data. We were not paying for call. And so we were saving more money. So with the coming, with the coming of phone, when phone first came, it was Palasha phone. We didn't know we could do internet on our phone. Was anybody collecting this electronic fund transfer from us? No. And so he that wants better life must be ready to pay for it. And those people that are providing the services, those people that, we are not the one providing the services. Those providing the services, they said they have a cost. And they must meet up that cost. And they must also make profit. if where I am now, I can send money to somebody in Meduguri, I can receive alerts. Once upon a time, I have been coming to EKSU. One on lecture there, 1983. So I know the history of this place. And at that time, he used to use, is it Owena Bank? I know he will give me check. I will have to travel from Okimesi to Owena Bank, to the branch. That branch, very, one junction, like Ijibo, very close to Ijibo Junction. If I went to any other Owena Bank, no will. So for me to cash that money, I will have to transport myself. Are we together? I am not sure there was any bank in EKSU at that time. So if you wanted to collect your salary, it's either they count the cash for you and give it to you. And armed robbers, you know what armed robbers were doing also. So in order to avoid armed robbery, and how many, bursary department will have to be, and God forbid again, if somebody's salary was 20,000, 54 kobo. If you work in a factory like as I've done before, you now can't, and there is no 54 kobo. Hello, someone pay. Now, technology came such that rather than queuing up in the cashier office to collect your salary, you just hear pom pom alert, it don't blow. And then you can also send, you can pay your tithe, you can do all those things. For that ease of your transaction, they now ask you to pay maybe 50 naira or whatever. And if you are transferring from one bank to another, you will pay that one, and then we are complaining. We have a choice not to use the service, and then we will dodge, we will not pay that one at all. But those people that are providing the service said, unless you provide, once you want to enjoy that service, you should pay. It is then not in the interest of the tax collector to say, don't collect money, because when they collect that money from you, there is also a portion that the taxman will also say, that's the truth. Now, why I understand you, sir, is that before now, people that wanted to run from the normal commercial banks, the GT, the First Bank of this world, you quickly go to OPay. You go to PAMPay. Even me too, I was not exempted. Because all those, but come January now, suddenly you now realize that, before now, if you get money into your PAMPay, that's when they will deduct 50 naira. And then you can transfer as many times as possible. They won't charge you anything. But the traditional banks were gradually becoming abandoned. Let's face the reality. And then crimes were being committed with OPA and all the other people that, where is their office address? You know them. But it was sharp. When all the other banks, when the application is still rolling, somebody don't get them. You don't know their offices. You don't know where they operate. So they now realize that they too have, they too have to be monitored. Somebody can't enter your First Bank, GT Bank, and all these other banks anyhow and do anything. And so they now have to be monitored by central bank. And you think all those other banks will also be sitting down looking for all their customers to go to all those banks that were not regulated? They also would naturally say, why are you people on us? And then the central bank now says, you know what? All these hidden charges, don't hide it any longer. Let people know what they are going to pay for your service, so that they will make up their mind. Employers have been paying only 50% of what you should be paying as tax. You now need government service. You now come to the relevant tax authority, and they now says, Mr. Man, you have not paid enough. You are now paying out of pocket the 50,000 that that your organization did not remit. So if I understand you, the question is that, okay, will the organization, or is it the tax authority now that will refund? The person that collects money from you collected it so that for you to pay the correct amount. So he has collected, he's not going to refund. So if your question is, if the organization now pays, will they now refund you? No. That's part of what any tax law does, is to push you to go and tell your employer to stop putting you into trouble. Your employer should please deduct the correct amount and pay the correct amount so that there won't be issue. I don't want to mention some institutions in this state now. Whatever their employer pays, that is it. Their employer has paid the correct amount. They get their TCC without EKIRS charging an extra penny. So part of the reason for asking for rent receipt, for example, is to know your landlord. Is he also paying tax or not? Part of the reason for withholding tax, even for organization. Let me give you an instance. I got embarrassed some years ago. I went confidently. I asked my client, I hope you are not. He said, no, I've never done any business with this company before. So I marched to FRS office in Alausa confidently. And I said, no, this client is not owing. He doesn't owe you anything. They formed the business, but they have not started transacting on that business. And the younger man that was in my front, he said, Egmon, I have to respect your age. You are also a senior in this profession. Why are you so sure? I said, I asked the managing director, and he assured me that they have not done anything whatsoever. He now said, okay, sir. He now opened his laptop. He now showed me withholding tax that was deducted by Globalcom on a business that person has done. Globalcom had remitted to FRS on his behalf. The tax credit was waiting for him. No liability to match it against. He said, okay, if your client has not done anything, why did Globalcom pay us withholding tax? Most time I just knew. And I called the managing director. But you say, oh, yes, we did one contract, then blah, 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 blah. You know, so that, of course, that withholding tax that Globalcom deducted now has exposed that organization that, oh, you have not been filing. In India, for example, if you have tax credit in your account, that is maybe withholding tax that has been deducted on your behalf, and there is no liability to match against it, you are automatically suspected. And so you are not done anything, you are not done any filing, but because somebody has withheld some taxes on your behalf in the time past, and that person has remitted it, that of course has exposed you. And you know what the tax man needs to do is that withholding tax, is it 5% or is it 10% as the case may be? He grosses it up and he knows the income that you have earned. So why are you hiding? It now becomes a case of explaining yourself. So that's the way it works, sir. And then the third one, security protection of that one. You know, in my presentation, I said we have been compelled, for example, to send some of our members of staff to go and do training on data protection. And we reiterate it also to our colleagues that, look, you are going to be coming across several information. You have to know where your limit stops. If, for example, I have access to somebody's account, and I realize that, okay, every month he collects 1 million. He sends 500,000 to the wife. He sends 300,000 to the girlfriend. I now will go to madam, tebali kan toko yin se 300,000 ló ń sẹ̀ sí àlè o. And that is traced to me. I will go for 5 years imprisonment based on that. Because the data that is available for me is for me to calculate taxes. That's all. What's my business with how he spends his money? My own is that, is it the money that he says he has, that he has? That is it. And it's not even in every case that will be checking people's account. It's when I'm put on inquiry, it's when I'm compelled to doubt what the person is claiming or not claiming. Are we together? So you are protected because we have a certified data protection officer in our office now. He has to write the exam. We have to register with Data Protection Organization of Nigeria, and we have to get PwC as consultants to walk us through all the expectations so that we don't run foul of the law. Are we together? And so the information that we need from you, we must, even if you want to know how are we keeping it, we must let you know where we are keeping it and we must jealously protect it. And if you now go about giving people information about you, if like that person was killed, God forbid, if that information came from a tax authority and the person is now killed, where will he collect tax next year? At least his taxpayer are reduced by 1. So it's also in our own interest to ensure that whatever data you give to us is well protected and judiciously used for the purpose of providing it, not for any other purposes. Thank you. I think we've done well. I want to thank you once again for the opportunity. God bless you all.
We can do better, please. We can do better. We can do better. Yes. The lecture is really helpful, and the chairman has been able to impact positively in our lives this afternoon. And as it is now, I'm glad to tell you that even bandits will pay tax now. Definitely. Okada riders will pay tax.